Greetings, it's the 16th of July today, and here you are with Dan in Essex, southeast UK. So we're experiencing a very warm year this year, and the grapes truly are benefiting from it. Monday or Tuesday next week, it's meant to get up to about 38 degrees C, which is around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So by UK standards, very warm indeed. In fact, in my 37 years, I don't think I can remember it ever being that warm. It may have been, but if it has been, I can't specifically remember it. So anyway, now I've got one variety of grapes growing in this back garden here, and it's Lakemont Seedless. Here I have a vine I took from a cutting myself a few years ago, and over there I have a Lakemont Seedless that I actually purchased. It's a grafted variety, so got quite a nice crop here. I'm estimating probably about 70 to 100 bunches of grapes here in this back garden alone. I've got some grapes in another part of the garden, I'll show you those as well. So very happy with how these are looking. So I'm not going to be going into much specific detail on the growing of grapes in this video. I'll link some videos down below so you can have a look at those if you want to learn more about growing grapes. I've made quite a few videos over the years, but anyway, without further ado, let's get on with this tour of this hopefully magnificent crop of grapes yet to come. So this here, as I stated, is the vine I took from a cutting myself, and grapes, they fruit off of canes which grow from the previous year's growth, and I think I actually got a bit secateurs happy last year when I pruned this vine here and I removed a bit too much of the growth here, so not too much of a crop there, but a lovely crop up here and a huge crop down there. So let's have a closer look. So let's get close to this vine here. So you can see where it grows from the ground there, and you can probably just about see a little bit of green tape on there. That was actually where I taped up a bit of damage which occurred to the vine a few years ago, and it's actually recovered very well. So up here, got a lovely crop set here over to here as well, and this plum tree, a lovely ripening plum there, this is a variety called Jubilee, and what I've done actually is allowed the vine to grow into the plum tree a little bit, like a food forest effect. So you can see here, look, got lovely bunches of grapes growing up into the tree. I hope you can see them okay here as well, and there. So really lovely crop in the canopy of the tree, and we then continue all the way over to here. This is from the same vine, and we then get to this area. Once again, beautiful crop and a beautiful crop. Hope you can see everything I'm showing you here. So all in all, very, very happy with how this vine is doing. So this is the grafted Lakemont Seedless vine that I purchased, and once again carrying a huge crop. So plenty of leaves here. So what you can do as they ripen is actually remove some of the leaves so the sun hits the grapes, increasing their sugar content, hopefully making them sweeter, and maybe some earlier ripening as well. So absolutely wonderful. What you can also do is leave some of the leaves on and remove them at a later date, or not remove them at all, and that way you could ripen your grapes over a sustained period, which can be a very good thing to do as opposed to maybe getting them all in one go. So let's have a closer look at this vine, and you can see the lovely crop it's carrying and some plans I've got for it. So we go down to the vine here where it comes from the ground. You can just see there, look, that bit of grafting wax there, that's where the graft is, and for some reason I actually set a cutting here of a Lakemont Seedless as well. I don't know why I did that. It must have been one of my moments, but I did. Anyway, never mind. So I'll let you have a look at the crop we've got here. Really beautiful. Grows all the way up here, all down here, down to here as well. And this bit here. So what I'm actually doing is training this along this arris rail fence here. Plenty of bunches once again, and I'm going to let it go all the way down this fence over time. It'll probably get quite far actually by the end of the season here. And of course these arris rails here are really good for me to tie it onto using this washing line here, and of course it also puts out its own tendrils for climbing as well, or trailing. So all the way along here, and this one day will be a huge vine which will yield me even bigger and bigger crops. So I've got bunches, you know, all over this vine here, all under here, And yeah, I think you get the idea. So I'm probably guessing I've got about 80 to 100 bunches of grapes currently growing here, which is wonderful. And let's see some more that I've got growing. So here in the polytunnel, I've got two varieties of grape growing. I have a variety called Rhea here, which is a Slovakian variety. Makes quite big grapes. People sometimes say that grapes grown in the UK don't make a big size. Well, Rhea certainly do. I've seen a mature vine loaded with large sized fruit. So Rhea, you may want to look into that. And here I have a German variety called Riesling. It's used in the making of certain wines. And they also are very nice to eat fresh as well. I've got a few little bunches of Rhea formed, but on the Riesling here, I reckon I've probably got, oh, there must be 30 or 40 bunches of grapes. So let's have a look at both of these. So we'll walk over here, and this down here, or here rather, is the Rhea. So there you go, you can see that bunch of grapes there. So that's a nice, cute little bunch. They've sort of got like a, what's that? I don't know, is it a cone or something sort of, different sort of shape to them, very nice. And a teeny weeny little bunch here, but next year I'm expecting this vine to be absolutely loaded with fruit, and I guess it just wanted another year to establish itself before it starts setting huge crops. So we'll go down here where the Riesling is growing from, and the crop starts down here and it goes all the way up here. There we go. You might not be able to see these that clearly because of the angle of the sun, but I can't do anything about that. So massive crops all under there, all up here, all up here, and yeah, and all the way up here as well. So expecting some lovely grapes off of variety Riesling. So we shall start over here with Autumn Royal, which is a Californian variety, and when grown in the UK, it's generally recommended actually it's grown under cover. Now, I suspect it will do well outside here in this part of the UK, particularly this year because it is so warm. But there it is. Some of you may remember this from when it was growing in my smaller polytunnel. I actually moved it because it was getting like a fungal condition in there, which I suspect was to do with the lack of ventilation, etc., etc. It just didn't thrive in there. So I dug it up. I think I dug it up at the start of last year. I pruned it before I dug it up, and then I planted it here. I did it whilst it was still dormant. That way it's less stressful for the plant if you do it at that time. So last year, planted there, it re-established, and it's actually done very well. It didn't give me a crop last year, unsurprisingly, because I removed much of the growth, and of course it wanted to re-establish itself after being moved. So here it is, and it's actually set a small crop. So let's have a look at it. So as we get nice and close here, you can see a lovely bunch of grapes form there, and a little teeny one there, and that's all I could see on this part of the vine, but it's set a teeny weeny little bunch just there, you could see, so that's nice. And I have got the option in the future of trailing the vine, growing it along this fence here if I wish, so that's very nice indeed. So here I've got a variety called Muller-Thurgau. Muller-Thurgau, I don't exactly know how you pronounce it, but here it is. And if I remember correctly, it's used in the making of the wine Liebfrau Milch and probably many other things as well. So looking really nice there. Lovely grape actually. And if I remember correctly, this was one of the earlier ripening varieties. I think this ripened quite early last year. And because of the weather this year, it should ripen very quickly indeed. So got plenty of bunches of grapes here, and the grapes are actually starting to make quite a nice size. So let's have a look. So let's get nice and close here. You can see the lovely bunches of grapes here. So we've got some there, some up here, some in there. You probably can't see those because of the light, but really have got plenty, you know, give you a different view, all in there. It's about 8, 9 bunches of grapes maybe, something like that, but certainly a nice crop there. So here is a variety called Muscat bleu. I took this from a cutting a few years ago from a vine that I had at a previous address. Very nice grape. They are a seeded variety, but I've got a really sort of, I can't explain it, but a very grapey taste. It's set one bunch here, so I actually moved this variety as well. This was in my smaller polytunnel and I decided I wanted it here. This can grow perfectly well outside here in the UK, at least this part of the UK anyway. We're in USDA zone 8B here. Of course there are different climates, different zones, etc. within the UK, so you want to do a little bit of research as to what, you know, grapevines do well, specific microclimates, etc. in your area. But so we've got, oh no, we've got two little bunches here, and because this is just like the Autumn Royal re-establishing, I moved it about the same time as the Autumn Royal. It will probably end up with quite a nice crop next year, but certainly grateful for what it's set. And let's have a look at the bunches. Right, so let's have a look here. So the grapes are kind of like loose, if you see what I mean. That's how the bunches form. So that's that bunch there. And where is the other one? There we go, under there, look. So two little bunches of grapes on the way, lovely. This is a variety called Venus, and it hasn't actually set a crop this year, but that's fine. We'll have to wait till next year. And here we've got a variety called Suffolk Red. So this is a variety that's actually recommended for you to grow if you're living in a cooler region. It's said to be very hardy. So got about got two bunches of grapes there formed, but this part of the vineyard, this area here, as opposed to the backyard vineyard, it's a much younger vineyard. So I'm expecting, you know, this to come into full productivity later. Certainly we'll be getting more crops next year than this year on this section, but let's have a look at these anyway. There you go, Suffolk Red, and these make some quite nice sized grapes, so equally excited about this crop as well. So anyway, there we go, got plenty of grapes on the way, really nice, certainly warm, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for your time as always.